Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the player ratings. Nottingham Forest 0. Everton won. A big victory on the road for the Toffees. 3 away wins in a row. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Let's get into it because I've just done my instant match reaction, so there's no need for any of that. Let's get into the player ratings. Jordan Pickford didn't have too much to do in the first half, but second half had a couple of big saves. One where he came out with his feet, and one where he pushed it to the side. It was quite composed most of the game. I was a little bit worried when there was a little moment where where the referee was talking to him for time wasting, and I was just like, calm down. And he just did a couple of mad things after that. It was just like, please just calm down a little bit, just calm down. But he was fine, done his job, didn't have loads to do, as I said. He was, again, little picky thing where he threw the ball out too quickly, and James Garner had to kick off on him a little bit and tell him to calm down, because we at that stage of the game we didn't need that. So yeah, Jordan Pickford I would give a 7.5. Ashley Young, I know there was a lot of people squirming about Ashley Young playing today, and it did seem early on that Elanga was going to get the better of him, but he didn't. It was just one moment where he gave away a free kick. Apart from that, he was fine. Apart from that, he was absolutely fine. You can just see his heat map here. There it is. So his heat map was, again, mostly in our half, but did get forward a little bit. So yeah, he was all right. He was okay. Done his job for the most part. 4 clearances, 1 block shot, 1 interception, 1 tackle. Wasn't dribbled past once. Ground duels, won 4 out of 6 and 2 out of 3 aerial duels. So again, did quite well in the main part. So yeah, I would give Ashley Young a 7 for this game. Again, as I said, there was no issues with him at all, apart from that one first moment, I would say. On the other side, Vitaly Mikalenko, can't barely say his name. Again, another really good, steady performance from him. Didn't let much go past him at all. He is someone who is getting up the pitch a lot more. You can see his heat map there. Obviously a lot in our half, but he is starting to get more and more up the other end of the pitch. He's getting a lot more confident going forward, which is a big thing, and it's important for us as well, because obviously that he's scored a couple of goals recently, and it's really important, and just shows you how much he's improving, how much more confidence. Physically, he looks better. Ground duels, he won 3 out of his 6. Aerial duels, won 1 out of 1. 3 clearances, 1 block shot, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles, just dribbled past one once. Again, I thought he was absolutely solid today. And again, those fullbacks being strong defensively, but just giving us a little bit of something going forward. Obviously, Mikalenko a little bit more than Ashley Young was hugely important. So another really good performance from him. So I would give Mikalenko a 7.5. The centre backs, I thought Jared Branthwaite was again had an excellent game. I wouldn't go as far as say he was outstanding, but I thought he did have I thought he had an excellent game. 6 clearances, 1 interceptions, 1 tackle, 1 ground duel, which he won, 4 aerial duels, 1 out of 6. So again, solid, nothing spectacular, nothing silly, nothing dramatic. There was a couple of, I think I noticed one time where he won a header and it was a bit soft, and they're just like tiny little things, aren't they? But the defence was I mean, listen, we weren't hanging on or anything, but they were throwing a lot of balls into the box, and I think we dealt with them really, really well. And Branthwaite certainly was a major part of that. Obviously, him and Tarkowski are building up a really good partnership, where they know what each other's doing. So I thought he was excellent today, so I'll give him a 7.5. James Tarkowski, I thought he was really, really good today. I thought he was so dominant, obviously up against Chris Wood as well, against someone obviously he's played against. Aerial duels, he won 8 out of 10. Sorry, I could barely see it then. 8 out of 10, and he won 2 out of 3 ground duels. I thought he was massive just for those aerial duels, just to make sure that they weren't winning the first balls or the second balls, and just making sure he was dominant, and he was coming out of his zone as well to make sure he won everything. If you just look at his heat map there, it shows you not just staying in his zone but coming out of it, and obviously in the final third as well, getting in some good areas for set pieces as well. So I thought he was honestly, just when you talk about leadership, and when you talk about like proper Everton captains, we spoke about it quite a lot on the channel this week with James Tarkowski, obviously. With Phil Jagielka obviously retiring. You look back and think about your centre backs. Everton have had such a good tradition of centre backs, and with James Tarkowski now, we seem to have a centre back. Obviously, he's our captain, who really is leading us in a proper Everton fashion. So, it was good. He played really well today. So I'll give him an 8. James Garner, probably his best game in an Everton shirt, I would say. Probably his best game. He was certainly second half. He massively picked up just keeping hold of the ball, just picking the right passes, just dominating the pitch. He had 63 touches, pass accuracy of 80%, shots on target 1, ground duels 5 out of 8, aerial duels 1 out of 3. But if you just look at his heat map, he's dominating the whole of that midfield area, just all in the midfield. You can see there how much he's getting round. And I think in other games he just hasn't had that influence on a game at all. Whereas today he had a huge influence. I think he was so important for his second half. So important, getting his foot on the ball and winning it back and getting control and getting all the 50-50s, and obviously going back to his old club as well. He want to show what kind of play he's come. But I honestly thought today, I know he's played well in other games, but I thought today was the game where he really stood out. And if you were watching that game, you could obviously see in other games he does all right, but you can't sort of see the effect he has on games. Where today I really thought you could see the effect he had on the game, and he was hugely important second half for keeping up the intensity that we needed to get that foothold, and especially in away games where obviously they've got the crowd and things can suddenly turn against you, certainly if you've not got the ref on your side. So James Garner, I would give an 8.3 today. Jesse Garner again next to him. Again, I thought he had a really, really good game as well. Again, if you look at his heat map, he's all over the pitch, especially more in those defensive areas. Obviously, is what we'd expect from him. 59 touches of the ball, 72% pass accuracy. Ground duels 5 out of 11, aerial duels 1 out of 1. But again, just picking up the bits, just getting in there and making sure that they couldn't get a foothold in the game. And listen again, does he make simple passes look hard at times? Yes, he does. but not too much. Not too much in terms of the not too much in the final third as such. He's sorry in against us, which maybe has happened in the past. But I thought he was excellent today. I thought he played well last week against Crystal Palace. He played really well and obviously got the winning goal. But again, Adesanya Gay I thought played really well today, so I would give him a 7.7. Decore just ahead. Yeah, I mean, I can't say he didn't try today. Is his heat map, as you can see. He's all over. He's all over the pitch. There's no real one area that he's really dominant in, but he's all over the pitch. But didn't quite link up with Beto the same way he does with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. 39 touches of the ball, pass accuracy 55%. Ground duels, 2 out of 5 won, only 1 out of 4 aerial duels, which is a bit strange for him. A lot of talk about him giving a penalty away. As I've said, I think it's 50-50 on whether it's a penalty or not. I know their manager was raging about it and said it was definitely a penalty and all this, and I think on the TV, Redknapp was like, it's definitely a penalty, but I just thought at the time, and maybe I'll see it more, and maybe see when I saw the Crystal Palace one against us, I thought that was a penalty. When I saw the Man United one against us, I thought that's a penalty. With this, I'm not convinced that it was a penalty. You see it all the time. It looks like one player's got hold of the other player, whereas they've both got hold of each other, and one falls over because he wants a foul. You see it all the time in the game, but the ref hasn't give it. Listen, they should have had a man sent off. You know, that's just the way it is, isn't it? That's the way it is sometimes in football. I don't know whether it was that much of a controversy. I think we make more out of a lot of things in football these days than because everything is hyped up. Because everything is hyped up now. Everything has to be looked at again and again and again. I don't think it does. I think there are things that you do need to look at, but I don't think you have to look at every single thing in football these days. So, Decore, I would give a 6.9 for Decore. The wide players, I've been a little bit critical of the wide players in the last few weeks, in terms of affecting games. So let's start with Jack Harrison. His heat map for today, obviously predominantly on the right hand side or wholly on the right hand side. Not sure about this. Not sure about the heat map in the defensive part or in our own area. I'll let you make your own mind up about that. Listen, he's still. All right, let's start with the positives. He done really well for our goal. Great little give and go with Adesanya Gay. Puts the ball, and I think so he gets an assist. Did he get an assist? Technically, I don't think it's an assist because I think maybe one of their players got a little touch on it. But it's an assist if you're just looking at it from without looking at the stats. It was an assist. But again, he just has to get better in terms of his all-round game. Ground duels today won 2 out of 9. Aerial duels won 2 out of 3, which is a lot better. Shots on goal, none. I'd like to see him get more shots off. No shots off target, no shots blocked. Only 1 dribble attempted, unsuccessful. 5 crosses into the box, that's okay. I'd just like to see him have a bit more of an effect. And what I'm talking about is what you would look at in terms of Dwight McNeil today. And I'm not saying Jack Harrison can't do it. I'm just waiting for him to do it. And I think I've been saying the same about Dwight McNeil in the last few weeks as well. But the difference is today, Dwight McNeil really did come into the game and really did make an influence. So I would give Jack Harrison a 6 for today. But Dwight McNeil, obviously, he's got the winning goal, but he was so influential in that second half as well. I mean, you can see his heat map here. And you can see how much more dominance he had. You look at the red there. You look at him going into other areas of the pitch. He was trying to affect the game all the time. He was trying to. He was winning. He was winning his 50-50s, and then using that to get on with the game. I say he won his 50-50. He won 5 out of 15 ground duels, and he won 3 out of 5 aerial duels. But he's trying to compete. He's trying to make things happen. He's trying to, he had 78 touches of the ball. I mean, that's quite a lot, which shows you that he was trying to get on the ball loads. He's had 2 shots on target. Obviously, one's been cleared off the line, and one of them's gone in. He's had 1 shot off target. He has massively tried to make a difference today. And said all the time, Jack Harrison doesn't have someone who overlaps him, and I'll continue. That's such a big thing. Whereas I think Dwight McNeil now, Michalenko is trying to get past him. He is trying to get. He will get up there and support him. And don't get me wrong, Dwight McNeil hasn't been poor, and I'm not saying Jack Harrison's been terrible, but it's about making that effect in the final third, and that's what Dwight McNeil did today. He made a huge effect in the final third. He's had our best 2 chances of the game, and obviously he scored one, and the other one it gets cleared off the line. There's nothing he can do about that really. But I thought his all-round impact on the game was really important today. Really important. You could see him. He's like, yeah, you got to die for the 3 points. He really did. You could see that on him today. He wasn't willing to take. He wasn't willing to leave the pitch without winning his battle and hopefully Everton winning the game. And that's exactly what he did. And I thought for that's that extra bit of desire and that extra bit of intensity that's been missing in the last few weeks. And I don't know whether that's, again, fitness. I don't know whether that's just because of everything that's happened. I don't know whether someone's given, someone said to him, listen, you need to do a little bit more in the final third to get the centre forward into it. And got that performance today. Has got that performance. It's wanting a little bit extra, and he's done that today. So no, I've seen people say, "Oh, wingers are in and out. They are inconsistent." No, they're not. Though that's the point. They're not inconsistent. They might be inconsistent in their delivery. They might be inconsistent with whether a shot goes in or not. But you've still got to be having the shots. You've still got to be having the crosses. You've still got to be making the dribbles. That's what I've not seen from these two in the last few weeks. And that's exactly what we saw from Dwight McNeil today, is that extra little thing that he was doing in the second half of the season. And I'm absolutely made up to see it today, because that really is the difference between a player just having an okay game and a player being a match winner. They're the differences in football. And if you don't press for that, if you don't push for that, you're never going to get it. And if a player doesn't go those extra miles, you're never going to get them. And I think that's exactly what we saw from Dwight McNeil today, was him doing that today. So it's not about them dribbling and taking on. That's not. I don't expect that from Dwight McNeil. I don't expect that from Harrison. It's about making things happen, and that's exactly what we saw from Dwight McNeil today. He made that happen. He made the fact that he got one clear off the line on the goal. You could tell he was determined to do that today, and that's the whole thing. There isn't a difference. By the way, there is a massive difference. People can say, well, the difference is one. No, Dwight McNeil's performances in the last few weeks have been nowhere near the level as it was today. That intensity to want to win the game. That's what we saw today. The same thing that we saw when he played against Brighton. That getting on the ball and really driving forward and saying, I'm gonna make a change. I'm gonna do something today to win this game. And I thought that's what we saw out of Dwight McNeil tonight. And I want to see more of that, because when he's on it, he can do that. He can score goals like that when he's on it. When he's got his head up and he really is full of confidence. So he manifested that. He manifested that performance today, and we want more from that. So fair play to him. I want to see that every week from him, because it's there. It's clearly there. It's clearly there when we saw it the whole of the second half of the season. And I want to see it because we've seen it. I was the first to criticise him. I've not been criticising him as such the last few weeks. I've just been saying, give us that extra little bit. give us that extra little bit that you haven't been showing, and he showed that today, especially in the second half. So I would give Dwight McNeil a 8.2 because James Garner's going to be my man of the match. Beto. Okay. Beto's going to need time. He's going to need time. That's all I'm going to say. He's going to need time. He only had 29 touches of the ball today. He tried a few things. Didn't all come off. One thing that has to improve is his first touch has to improve. I've said this a few times when I've watched them. Obviously, listen, don't need to be a genius to know that. His first touch has got to improve so he can get it and start running at people. That's his strength. His strength is running with the ball. When he's got the ball and running with it, he's a different player. Today, he never got hold of the ball once to show what he can do. And he's not really he's a big physical lad, but he's not really like Dom. In fact, he's got stuff Dom hasn't got, and Dom's got stuff that he hasn't got. The difference is Dom's got a more rounded game. Beto has to get hold of the ball and has to run at people, and today he just couldn't do that. We never saw him once pick the ball up and run at everyone. That's clearly his strength. You look at what he did when he was in Italy. That's his strength. You look at when he came on in the cup against Burnley. Everyone was bouncing off it till he got the ball and ran and set the third goal up. He's going to take time. He hasn't had lots of time on the pitch. There's a player in there. But we have to get rid of all of the edges. Because if we don't, he's obviously trying too hard as well. He's just smashing everything. Listen, he should have put us 1-0 up. It was an easy chance. That if he'd already scored in that game, he just puts that in without even thinking about it. But he's clearly trying too hard. Me and Paz had a bit of an argument the other week and we were talking about him and saying, I just want to see him come on and run around like a lunatic. And I was like, I don't. And my point being was, I want him to be calm. I want him to be calm on the ball. I want him to be calm in his game because he just wants to. He wants to score. Or he wants to do something. Clearly, he's not the number one striker, and he doesn't feel like he's getting many chances. So he wants to prove that he can do something. But it's actually the opposite. He needs to calm down. He needs to get hold of the ball. He needs to do what he does. And don't get me wrong, we don't really play to his strengths. We've seen so far with the limited time is he's at his best when we play the ball down the channel and he runs onto it and gets there first and then can use his dribbling ability. But I don't think he's really a back to goal striker as such. But that first touch has to improve. It really has to improve so he can get hold of the ball and then just go and do what he wants to do. And that's going to take time. It is going to take time. I'm not going to write the lad off, certainly. Here's his heat map from today. And as you can see, it's not really like, he's not really getting in one area. He's going all around the front area as a striker, obviously, as a lone striker. But there's no real dark, red in there. So it is difficult for him, but there's definitely a player in there. We've seen it already, and we've seen it in Italy. It's just that the game's different. In Italy, it's slower. The first touch maybe doesn't have to be as great because he can use his physical strength. Here, I don't think he can do that. I think he's up against people who are as big and strong as him, and it's going to take a little bit of time. So yeah, it wasn't a particularly good game from him. But what he did do, this is what I will say about him is, he did occupy their centre backs. He did give them something to think about. But he's going to have to do more. Ground duels, he's won 4 out of 10. Aerial duels, he's only won 4 out of 10. See, and that's what I'm saying. That's the side of his game. He's somebody who needs to get the ball and run with it pace. That's his game. That maybe not where we are. He's going to have to adapt a little bit to us, and we're going to have to adapt a little bit to him. But he's got to improve that first touch. But I did think he did occupy their centre-backs. He did hold them back in a way that Schmidt never really did when he came on. So, Beto, yeah, it wasn't great. But I definitely think there's more to come from him. So, I'd give him a 6.7. And we'll see what happens in the future. Schmidt, I can understand the manager. Obviously, he's his only other centre forward, and maybe he thought, and that's the other side of Beto. Maybe Beto's hasn't got 90 minutes in the tank as of yet because he hasn't played many Premier League games. 90 minutes has he? I think he's only played. Don't even know if he's played 90 minutes. Obviously, we only made one sub. Schmidt came on with 8 minutes to go, so it was more like 13 minutes to go. He's got Schmidt again. He's another one about the first touch. But I was a little bit. I'm not going to go overboard. Needs to work a little bit harder. Holding the ball up. There was a couple of times where I thought he let the centre-back, and this is maybe the difference with Beto, is he let the centre-back just win it too easy. There was one in the corner where we knocked it into the corner, and he didn't even bother running for it, and I was a little bit disappointed with that. With the lad who just come on, and all you want him to do is do his job and stop their defence, and I was a little bit disappointed that in that moment he didn't he didn't even go to the ball. He was just like, I'll let you have it. It's like, no, mate, there's 5 minutes left and we're 1-0 up and we need a little bit more from him. So I was a little bit disappointed from him in that nature. So, I'll give Schmidt a 6. But there you go. Listen, the Beto will obviously split opinions, let's say. Listen, he didn't have a great game, but it's about getting more out of him, isn't it? It's about getting more out of him, and that's the work. That's the work that we're going to need out of him. So listen, it was a good all round team performance, and it showed that we are better than a lot of those teams down there. What we've got to do now in the next few weeks is we've got to try and get out of that bottom 3 to take that pressure off us. And today was a fantastic start. So it's about getting out the bottom 3. We can get out the bottom 3 this week and then start looking up and put those teams behind us. Then that gives us the opportunity. In the real world, we should be 11th in the table, and that's what pisses me off most, is that we should be 11th in the table and we're not. But there you go. Listen, fantastic win. We can all have a few days of happiness, which is nice. So enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Make sure to check out Baz's videos. Make sure to check out, we'll be live at 1 o'clock on Monday on YouTube. And then we'll be doing the final word over on Toffee TV Premier at about 3:30. So make sure you join us for that. If you're not on Toffee TV Premier, this is a fantastic time to join because you get 25% off your merchandise, including your Christmas jumpers. So the link is in the description. QR codes come on the screen. Why not? It's we have a laugh over there. We have a laugh. There you go. See you later.